here with Rudy Sarzo and Alex Grossi.
Yes.
Yes. From Quiet Riot. Gentlemen, welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Iconic songs, inescapable songs that you guys have been a part of throughout the lineup of this band. Talk to me first about the performance tonight at M3. I know, Alex, we're sitting here, you said the reviews are in. How did that feel? I know it's not the most spring day, but...
You know, it's always great playing the show because a lot of our peers are here, and it definitely makes everyone step up their game. But yeah, I think we had a great set. We had a great slot, and even though it was kind of crappy weather, I think we about 3 or 4 songs in hit our stride and really got them going, and I feel good about it. We had a great time up there. It was a great crowd. It always is here. It always is.
So Rudy, how about you? How'd that feel up there?
Playing here, you know, I played here in 1981 with Ozzy before it was finished. I mean, this room where we're here didn't exist. They were still working on the amphitheater, and I don't recall that if it was covered or not. But I remember walking around with Randy doing sound check, and it goes, wow, it's gonna be really nice once it's done.
Yeah.
And he was right.
Rudy, the songs, like I said at the start, so iconic, inescapable, they're just such earworms. How do you view the band's longevity and these incredible hits? And what do you make of the fact that it has taken the band from the 70s till now?
Yeah, well, I can go song by song from Mental Health.
Yeah.
Since I was in the Randy Rose version of the band, Quiet Riot,
right.
I joined in '78. So there's one song that made it from that era to the Mental Health record, which is Slave Black Cadillac.
Yeah.
And the origin of that song, Randy challenged Kevin to write a good song. And I think he hit a grand slam with that one.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that's a Kevin composition. And, you know, every time I play that song, I go back to 1978 playing it with Randy. That's what's going on in my head.
Yeah.
I'm there, you know. And then you have Dubrow era songs like Thunderbird, Love's the Bitch, Let's Get Crazy, and a couple of other ones that I played. See, when Randy left Quiet Riot in '79, the name was not used until later on. And so Kevin put his own band called Dubrow. There's a book about it called Keep On Balling that documents, you know, the eras of what happened. So during Dubrow, 8 months before I joined Ozzy, I moved in with Kevin, and I was playing in Dubrow. And so a lot of those songs, Love's a Bitch, was written during that period. Thunderbird was written during that period. So when, in 1982, Kevin gives me a phone call, and I was getting ready to go to New York to record Speak of the Devil with Ozzy. And Randy had passed away, and I had lost the joy of making music. And Kevin calls me up and says, hey, Roots, how would you like to come down to the studio? There's a possible record deal. You know, how would you like to play on Thunderbird? And of course, you know, it's a song that he wrote for Randy. And he changed the last verse to reflect on his passing lyrically. And so I went down, and there's Frankie Banali, who I had been playing with him 10 years prior to that moment. We met in 1972 on my birthday, November 18th, and we started playing together in South Florida. And then we moved to, after disco came in and changed things, we moved to the Chicago area. We played the whole Midwest. Then we moved to LA in '77. We ran out of money, and we split. Then I came back in '78, and I joined Quiet Riot, the Randy Rose version of the band. So finally, I'm in the studio with Frankie, recording a song, you know, and we cut it really quickly. Carlos, I never met him before, but I knew about him from his band Snow that used to play the same circuit in LA. And so, you know, we cut it really quickly, and the producer goes, "Hey, do you remember Swing Black Cadillac?" And I go, "Yeah, let's do it a couple of times, you know, just to refresh it." So we cut it then. And then 2 more songs, which is Love's a Bitch and Let's Get Crazy. And by the time that I left the session, I had 4 songs that I recorded for what became the Mental Health record, but I was still a member of Ozzy. So a few days later, I go to New York and I record Speak of the Devil, and the whole thought of getting the joy of making music again, you know, being in the studio with Kevin and Frankie, who I had both of them so much history with. That's what made the deciding factor for me to go back to what then it got renamed Quiet Riot once I came into the band. And so all those songs to me have a backstory. You know, Come and Feel the Noise has a backstory to it. You name it. Except for the 2 songs that I wasn't there for, because they were recorded before I joined the band, which is the song Mental Health, which is a song that Carlos Cavazzo brought from his band Snow. And actually, I do have a backstory to it.
Sure.
I can tell you. Okay. You heard this before. I'll make it as short as possible.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah.
You're not. I'm not interviewing you.
Yeah. I'll make it as short as possible. So the backstory to it is that the song originally was called No More Booze. No more booze. What a drag. You know, that was the Snow version of the song. So when Randy and I used to be on a break from Ozzy, we used to go straight from the airport to Kevin's apartment, pick him up, take him to the Rainbow. Basically to give him an update of what was going on in the real world. In England, you know, as we were touring all over the place, who was coming out? Bands like Def Leppard, which was very close to what Kevin was doing in his band Dubrow. I mean, if you listen to Mental Health and was Pyromania that came out at that time, there's a relationship to it musically, you know. But Kevin had no idea about Def Leppard. It just so happens that he started going in that direction, because Quiet Riot, or even in the Randy Rose era, was very poppy, very melodic, song-oriented. You know, so Kevin kept that sensibility in his writing as Dubrow, right? Okay, so we were telling Kevin, you know, you're not gonna believe this, but when we played in England, there's these kids that stand in front of the stage and they bang their heads against the stage as we're playing, and you could see Kevin's wheels are turning. It's like, So that's the origin of Bang Your Head.
Wow.
Even though he had never been to England before, just enough of Randy and me telling him the story about what's going on in England, he used that as the core of what that song is all about. You know, so there's a backstory to it, to Mental Health. Even though I did not play on the song, but there's a backstory to it. And then you have The One to Let You Go. It's the other song that I did not play on. Those 2 songs is Chuck Wright, and he's credited on the back of the album cover from day one. And but the rest, yeah, those are songs that I was there either for the Dubrow period that we used to do them, or for Come and Feel the Noise. And there's a backstory to that one too, but you can Google it.
Google, it's worth a Google, yeah.
Yeah. And Alex, you joined in 04 or 05?
04.
Yeah.
04, yeah.
Tell me how that came about.
Well, I moved to LA in 2001 and I was playing in a bunch of different bands, and I met Kevin Dubrow at the time. In 2003, Quiet Riot broke up, and Kevin was doing a solo tour.
Right.
And he needed a solo band, and a mutual friend that was a booking agent hooked us up with each other, and I started writing songs with him, and a lot of those songs eventually became the Quiet Riot album Rehab. And then in 04, late 03, early 04, when the band got back together, they asked me to join, and that was 20 years ago, and I've been through everything since. You know, so I got picked by Kevin for the band, and that lineup was myself, Kevin Dubrow, Frankie Banali, and Chuck Wright. And then Kevin passed away in 07, and Frankie put it back together, and there's been various lineups since. So I've been through a lot with this band.
over the last 20 years, what have you thought about your place in the legacy and making the legacy and the music your own as you tour with the band?
You know, as time has gone on, and when we first got together, I was playing with Kevin and Frankie, and that was that lineup. When Kevin passed away, we took a year or two off, and then when we got back together, my role had changed a bit because I was carrying on what Kevin had taught me and having to bring that in and play with a couple new singers. So I had what Kevin taught me in the back of my head, trying to bring that attitude to these new guys. Now, then Frankie passes away. We go through, for that lineup went from 2010 to 2019. And Frankie got sick in 2019. When Frankie no longer became available, then Johnny came in, and eventually Rudy came back, and Jizzy. And now I'm taking what Kevin and Frankie taught me, melding it with what Rudy's brings in from his experience. I always say Rudy and I passed each other in the hall.
Yeah.
Rudy was there from like 83 to 2003. I came in 2004, like first 20 years, second 20 years, So I've now played closely with every member of the band other than Carlos. Obviously, we don't play the same instrument. So I'm definitely taking every little pieces from each thing and bringing it on stage every night, Because there definitely is, as Rudy says, there's a consciousness to it. And between Kevin and Frankie, who are very different guys, I'm taking that and bringing it into what's going on now.
I love it. So speaking of what's going on now, I could talk to you about the history forever, but speaking about what's going on now, what's next?
A lot of tour dates, and at some point we'd like to work on some new music to document this lineup of the band. It's a really cool lineup, and we got Johnny Kelly from Typo Negative on drums, who was picked by Frankie and probably indirectly by Kevin, because he wasn't around, the universe.
Yeah.
And then Jizzy Pearl on vocals, and from Love Hate, and everyone's got their own thing, so it'd be really cool to document this version of the band.
So Jizzy hasn't recorded with you guys?
What's that?
So Jizzy hasn't recorded with you?
No, we've recorded some stuff with Jizzy.
Okay.
But not this lineup. Jizzy was in the band with Frankie as well.
Right.
And starting in 2014. But it was never... This lineup's probably the most cohesive since when I first met Kevin. It's great.
Yeah, you were tight. I got whisked back here about 2 songs into the set. I'm like, no, I'm going to miss Mental Health. I guess, Rudy, I'll end with you. You've left, you've come back, you've left, you've come back. What keeps you a constant at Quiet Riot? What keeps you here and involved?
I only left once.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. First, when Randy Rose left,
Yeah.
the band broke up.
Yeah.
I left in 85.
Right. Forgive me.
In 97, the band imploded. There was no band. As you mentioned.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
Went solo and did all that stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
And now I've been asked to return.
Yeah.
So it hasn't really been that much of a whirlwind.
Right.
And I came back because this is my home, my musical home.
Yeah.
It really is. No matter who I play with, even when I was playing with Ozzy, it was Ozzy, 2 guys from Quiet Riot,
Yeah.
and Ozzy in the middle, and a guy from Black Oak, Arkansas in the back.
Yeah.
So there's always been a Quiet Riot presence in any other band that I played in. I would saying Ozzy would be the most because of Randy, of course, and me being in the band. And then when I was in Whitesnake, Whitesnake was the opening band for Quiet Riot in 1984. And then I joined, I was asked to join right after in 85 when I left Quiet Riot, but it didn't work out. So in 87, they asked me again. Went and I did the Still the Night video, stayed in the band. Okay, so, and I asked David, what do you want me to do? See, David was aware of me, and he told me, just be yourself. So I brought a lot of Quiet Riot with me into Whitesnake. As far as what I feel comfortable when I feel the music, even though Whitesnake and Quiet Riot were very different type of band. The consciousness of Quiet Riot was more like boys hanging out and more of that party atmosphere, and Whitesnake was more sexual, bluesy. But still, once that's brought out of the individual who's playing, myself, then it's at the same level. I can be as honest in a more of a boys hanging out type band, Quiet Riot, or Whitesnake, which is more of a sexual type band.
I love it. Well, gentlemen, this was a pleasure. Thank you
Yes.
so much. We appreciate your time.